What's going on, YouTube? It is your boy Screens, and not just Screens 2K this time. I am now known as Screens DF. If you guys didn't know, or if you guys haven't followed me on any of my socials, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, I actually joined the best clan in 2K history, Dedicated Forever, also known as DF. So this entire video is going to be me just personally talking to you guys about my entire journey, what was going on from start to finish, and my mindset through all of that. So before I start this video, I want to actually shout out a couple people that have really helped me both physically and mentally throughout this entire grind, because it wasn't an easy one, it wasn't a smooth one. There was tons of bumps in the road, tons of obstacles that I had to deal with. And these people, I couldn't have done it without these people. I genuinely couldn't have. So I'm very thankful for the people around me. So shout out to Chad, Solo, Clutch, Power, Will, Colton, Connor, all of them. I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but if I am, I'm sorry. And Zach. How the fuck could you forget Zach, aka Supreme? Sorry about that. Hey, yo, Power, can I borrow the sad instrumental, the piano one? Yeah, that one. All right, thanks. So on August 13th, 2019, I made a tweet saying that I was going to actually try to join DF. This was towards the end of 2K19, and I said that I wanted to try to join it in basically the very next 2K and then anytime after that. At the time, I really didn't do content creation all that much. I mean, I streamed on Twitch occasionally, but I really didn't pursue YouTube at all. I had a YouTube channel to obviously talk to people and subscribe to channels and stuff like that, but I didn't make videos on it. And I watched a kid, however, that's Colton. He did YouTube all the time in 2K19. I played with him all the time. He was basically my duo for 2K19. And we played all the time. And I watched him try to basically grind for just himself. He wanted to blow up. He wanted to do well on YouTube. And he's probably one of the... I don't know if inspiration is the right word, but he's probably one of the bigger influences as to why I started doing YouTube in the first place. So even though I didn't really do YouTube, I was still kind of into the content creation scene because I watched him make all of his YouTube videos. I watched all of his YouTube videos, and I got to witness his journey. Now, he always told me that I personally should actually get into it just because of a couple of reasons. One, that I'm funny. Two, that I'm really good at the game. And that I would honestly just be an entertaining person to watch, whether it be streaming or actual video. So basically what I did was I was a senior in high school at the time during 2K19, and for my graduation party I had received I'd say a decent amount of money. It was like $1,000 just for graduating high school. And what I did with that money was I decided to invest in myself and try to do something when it came to 2K and both the game and content creating. So I did just that. I bought a setup, I bought an Elgato, I bought a mic. I knew I was getting a computer for college, and I knew that I could get a face cam, a monitor, all that sort of stuff. So fast forward to when 2K20 came out, and when I was in college, I had packed up all my stuff. I had brought all my setup to college, and even though I had a setup, I still wasn't really fully into content creating yet, because actually, a lot of people, I say this before a lot, but when I first went up to college, I actually didn't bring my Xbox for 2 weeks. So that was basically 2 weeks of college and the first week of NBA 2K20 when it finally came out. I didn't have to deal with any of the badge glitch or the rep freezing because I simply did not have the game at the time. So this was a decision that was made by my dad. He basically made it for me. He wanted me to get acclimated to college basically as soon as I got up there. So what had happened was I had planned on playing 2K20 a lot with Colton. And this unfortunately didn't work out because he stopped playing the game. It's his decision. He didn't enjoy the game. He didn't enjoy playing it. So I had to find other people to play with after I was finishing grinding my very first build. If you guys have been around the channel for a while, it was the 7'1" shooting glass cleaner in NBA 2K21, or NBA 2K20, I'm sorry. And yeah, I really didn't have anybody to play with. I would just go on Twitter. I wasn't the most known kid in the world. I had about I'd say 1,000 followers or something. And I was just going on there for teammates. I was looking for teammates the entire time, and yeah. So as I was looking for teammates, I found one kid in particular. He was a kid that had been in the community for a very long time. He started a little before me, but we kind of started at the same time, I guess. And this kid's name was Chad. Chad didn't play 2K19 at all. He skipped the year because that was his very first year of college, and he also kind of had the same thing as me for the very first 2 weeks, but obviously for the entire year. He just wanted to get used to college and know where his time was. A lot of people actually ask me where I met him, and this all stems from Supreme. I knew Supreme in 2K18 through Colton, and we had just been friends ever since then. We were in the same clan together. During 2K19, at some point, even though he didn't play the game, him, Supreme, and Chad decided to make a clan. I joined this clan through Supreme, so shout out to him. And obviously, because I was in the clan, I followed everybody in it. That's where I met Kid, that's where I met Chad, that's where I met Brazy, and a couple others, but I don't remember them. So I joined, I followed this kid on Twitter, didn't think much of it. I was just like, oh, this kid follows me, I follow him. Nothing much to it. Fast forward back to the beginning of 2K20, and we start playing, because he was always, like I said, he was never in the community in 2K19, and he was always saying, he always played guard. He was always like, I need a center to play with right now, who's down to play for a couple hours before class. And me being the kid that didn't have any teammates as well, I was like, fuck it, I'll DM him. Commented under his thing a couple times, DM'd him. I was like, yo, do you want to play? Let's play. And I'll actually throw up the messages on the screen here right now. So they're up on the screen here, and basically that's when I decided to basically text him and ask him if he wanted to play, because I knew that he needed a center, I needed a guard to play with. Why would it not work? So a lot of people ask me, like I said, how I met him and how like this all like started, because as you guys know, he's probably one of my most played with teammates. That's how. We played a lot, my shooting center, his offensive threat. We played well together. We played all of like the double rep events. I remember we played a Puma Mania at the very beginning of 2K20, and that was a lot of fun. That was when I made my interior finisher to grind a legend. And I really didn't think of it much at the time, about how something like just a kid playing twos with another kid could develop into something much more than that. Fast forward a little bit more, and if you guys didn't know, Chad used to be Wade in 2K18. He was HG Wade, he was Power's duo. I remember one time he went into his stream, Chad, and was just talking to Power. And Power basically was like, yo, Chad, I heard you're back in the community, and you're actually like pretty good this year. I want to run a series against you. So he was serious. I was a little nervous because this was my very first series ever. I played competitively, obviously, but I didn't play in like set up series / wagers yet. I don't know if that's actually how you say series, but fuck it. So we play them. It was Power and Clutch. It's actually how I met Clutch. I had no idea. He didn't know me. I didn't know him before that. We play them extremely early in the morning. I'd say it was about 9 or like 10 if I'm not mistaken. Who knows, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was really early in the morning. And we actually played against them. So it was me and Chad versus Power and Clutch. That was when they played a lot in the beginning of 2K20. And we actually ended up winning. We won 2 games in a row, and that was it. Nobody really knew about it because nobody streamed it. Me and Chad didn't really do YouTube that much. Power didn't stream it. Clutch didn't stream it. Clutch, I think, had like 1,200 subs at the time. And like I said, we didn't know, it was like not really known. We weren't really known yet. We also played against Nadex in my very first video on my channel. So that was probably one of the very first things. And I tweeted it out, and I remember I got like 30 likes on it. And for me at the time, I thought it was famous. I thought it was Twitter famous, bro, because I really didn't do much. I really didn't like have that much. I was never really the known kid in the community. So we're going to skip ahead a couple months, and basically Chad and I start to grind for DF together. He announced his a couple months after. I forget when exactly, but him and I start to do it, and then obviously we're playing with each other a lot, so it just kind of ended up that we were doing it together. So fast forward to about May, and this was when Chad gets recruited. Now, I was obviously happy for him. I still love the kid to death. But obviously, this was heartbreaking to me because I wasn't there with him. I always wanted to be in there. DF was also like a huge goal for me, and it meant the world to me. And I didn't get in at the same time that one of my better friends in the community got it. There was many opportunities in the entire DF grind that I could have given up. There was many opportunities that I could have just taken the easy way out and said, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. But the reason why I stay in the community is because I always felt like I was just always drawn back to it for another reason, for one reason or another. And I really, in actuality, wasn't supposed to play 2K20 all that much. I had asked for a setup the Christmas of 2K19, and my parents had said no because I wasn't going to be able to play in college all that much anyway. And so he gets in. I think I'm out about 500 subs at the time, and I forget what he's at, but he obviously earned it. I didn't yet, and this kind of pushed me into the summer mode where I was streaming for like 6 hours at a time. So if you remember those 6-hour streams at the beginning of summer, around like I'd say May 12th, then you're a real one, because that was really when I started to flip things into gear, and I really wanted to try. Another thing that kind of like influenced me to go really hard over the summer was that I had a teacher, and I'm just gonna call him Professor R for the sake of the video because I don't want to like put his last name out there. But he basically for the last day, he talked to us about how his dreams were just dreams, and how he never really took action on them, and how he really wished that he did, and how the one last dream that he had was teaching, and how he was super grateful about how he actually wanted to do it. And before this, he made us write down a couple things on a piece of paper. I don't know if I still have the piece of paper. I'm actually going to try to find it. But the first question was, what's your favorite color? The second question was, what's your favorite animal? And then the third one was, what are your dreams and aspirations? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wrote down blue, I wrote down a lion, and I wrote down I wanted to be either an accountant or I wanted to be a YouTuber. So yeah, I'd been streaming for basically 6 hours at a time, and this was when 2K20 really started to pop off. This was when 2K20, like, wagers were super relevant because of the summer. They were insane. Like, Ticino, Nade, all of them, bro. They were going off. They were going insane on PS4, and that's when it kind of switched to Xbox. Now, we had obviously, me and Chad together, had obviously done a couple series together. We had done the Power one, we had played against Nade. We've played in competitive games before. Now, when wages really started to happen, we were hesitant because obviously it's different than just playing for fun and not just for the competitive aspect. Because that's personally what obviously brings me back to 2K every year. I love being competitive. I love just trying to be the best and prove that I am the best. But obviously, things are a lot different when money's on the line. So I played in a couple wagers, and I played in 2 tournaments in 2K20. No, I'm sorry, 3 tournaments. And if you guys have been around on my channel for a very long time, you guys knew how dominant we were in 2K20. We basically won every single wager we played except for I think 1, and we won 2 out of the 3 tournaments. One we went 16 and 1, and the other we went 16 and 0 in, and the other one we lost because I woke up 15 minutes before the tournament actually started. So that's on me. Towards the end of 2K20, I had gotten really upset and scared of change. Now what I mean by that is I saw 2K20 as an opportunity, and I kind of felt as if I missed it when it came to trying to reach my goal of DF. I had been grinding for about 8 months at the time, and almost close to a year. And no, I'm sorry, it was a year. I'm sorry, because this was the end of 2K20. And I really didn't know what to expect, and the idea of me not knowing what to expect really frightened me. 2K21 current gen comes out, I'm doing online school, and we just play the entire time. We really just play, and nothing really changes, to be honest with you. And we enter a couple tournaments, we come to the finals and the semifinals, but we unfortunately lose both. I'd say the beginning of 2K21 Next Gen is when I really started to get into my own head. And what I mean by that is I felt like I was kind of slowly losing myself. I forgot who I was. I was just nervous about everything. I had anxiety all the time. I woke up with I basically went to bed with this huge knot in my stomach of nervousness and anxiety, and I woke up with it and had it for the rest of the day until I went back to bed again. It was an endless cycle. Talked to multiple people about this. I talked to Power, I talked to Chad, I talked to Will about this, talked to Connor, I also talked to Jordan, and like I said, though I couldn't have done it without those people. I genuinely couldn't have. They've given me so much advice, basically kept my head on my shoulders, and kept me sane basically during the entire process. Throughout the entire time of 2K21, both current and next gen, I always had the negative thought in my mind that I had blown my opportunity in 2K20. I always thought about it. I always thought about, hey, you know, maybe that was your one chance and maybe you lost it. And although I didn't want to believe this, obviously every person has their doubts when they want to achieve a goal. So the very first DF recruit of Next Gen happens, which was Visually KP, also known as Kelsey. And basically the entire time, my heart was in my stomach because I had no idea what was going on, and I was extremely nervous. Same was for the one that I actually ended up being recruited on. So that happens, and I really, really wanted to be the first content creator added in 2K21 Next Gen, because I just felt like I had put so much effort, blood, sweat, and tears into it. The time comes around to another DF recruit, and the entire community is buzzing. Everybody's adding people under these tweets. Everybody's like, oh, like these, who should we add to be the next edition of DF? And there's tons of people being tagged. And first of all, the fact that people were tagging me, for one, thank you so fucking much, because it made me feel as if I was doing something right when it came to actually grinding for this clan. So they basically announced that recruits are happening the next day. Now, I am up for the majority of the night because, like I said, my heart is in my ass and I can't do anything. I feel the knot in my stomach. My entire mind is racing. I can't do anything. I eventually fall asleep. I get 2 hours of sleep, and I am nervous as fuck. I had basically assumed that they were going to tell the person in the morning and then announce them later that night. That's usually what they try to do, but that's not what they did this time. They did announce it at night, but they didn't tell anybody in the morning. So I'm sitting there for the majority of the day biting my nails because I have no idea what's about to fucking happen. Throughout the entire day, people are tagging people in these prediction tweets. They're like, oh, who do you think's gonna be the next DF recruit? I think it's so-and-so. I was tagged in some of these, and others I wasn't. That wasn't really my main goal to be tagged in the tweets anyway, my main goal was just to get into the clan. So the clock is 5:33 p.m. and I have no idea what's going on. I'm sitting in my chair. This one right here, I'm sitting in this one, and I have my feet kicked up on this desk next to me, and I'm on my phone. I'm sitting there, I'm scrolling through Twitter, I'm refreshing the entire time, because I have no clue what's about to fucking happen. The clock hits 5:34, and I get a text message. It's a DM from Solo, and it basically reads, I'll read it off right here. Yo, join the Discord, it's time for Screens DF. Now, I have no idea what Discord he's fucking talking about, but literally at the exact same second, I get a Discord call on my phone, because if you video call me, it actually pops up on my phone as if it's a normal voice call, like an actual, if someone were to call you on your phone, it pops up exactly like that. So before I have any sort of time to actually react to the message and text him back, I get this call. So currently I'm frozen. I'm frozen in both fear, excitement, anxiousness. I have no idea what's going on, but these three things are just keeping me still. I can't say a word. I don't know how to react. I joined the call, and I don't think I said anything for the first 30 to basically 60 seconds. And I'm in this call, and that's where this screenshot of my pinned tweet comes from. I'm sitting in the call, and I join the park. I change my gamer tag. and I'm announced as the most recent DF recruit. The moral of this entire story is that no matter how long it takes, you should, if you feel like you want something and this is meant for you, go and get it. Because I guarantee you, if you're anything like me, if you were to give up at any single point, you would be 5, 1, 10, 20 years down the line, and you'll be thinking to yourself, wow, I really gave up that easily back when I was 19 years old like I am now. I also want to talk about the actual grind itself and what the grind for DF really is all about. The way that I always looked at it was that the end goal for your DF grind was not to actually get in a DF. It was just something that came with it. And what I mean by that is the DF grind is really about making you and establishing yourself when it came to content creating, designing, video editing, whatever you guys wanted to join for. You basically wanted to establish yourself as you. You didn't want to rely on others. You wanted people to know you for you. And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions about the grind for DF that a lot of people think of. They think, oh, I'm going to do me until I get in and that's it. No, you're supposed to do you until you don't really have to introduce yourself anymore when it comes to being in this community. Like I said before the grind, I really wasn't known in that community. I thought 30 likes on Twitter was basically made me Twitter famous. I had a handful of friends. I never really made it into a clan before. I made it into a couple of my friends' clans, aka Colton or Prophet. But I really wasn't in like an actual clan. I was never really in one. I was in one in 2K17, but apart from that, they weren't really like professional as what DF has slowly become to be. My reasonings for starting my grind for the DF clan was, I really, for one, I saw it as a huge friend group. I saw Supreme in there, who was probably one of my best friends in the community. In May, I saw Chad in there, who grew to be one of my best friends in the community. I saw Solo, who now is one of my best friends in the community. So, you see where I'm going with this? I saw this as an opportunity to be just surrounded with my friends. I wanted to be a part of something with people that I enjoyed being around and that they enjoyed being around me. Another reason was that I wanted to be surrounded by people with the same mindset as me. I wanted to be surrounded by people that knew what it took, had what it took, and wanted to grow together. I wanted to be a part of something that meant something to everybody just as much as it meant to me. The last reason was because of two people, power and grinding. So I've been around the community for a while, believe it or not. I first was introduced to it at about the end of 2K16, and I was first introduced to YouTubers in particular. I was introduced to Nadex, and I was introduced to a young man named Power RG. So when this happened, I watched those two's videos all the time. I used to watch their videos all the time. I went through all of their videos. I never watched a stream though, because back then in 2K16, nobody really streamed on YouTube. It was mostly just Twitch, and I wasn't really into Twitch. I'm still not into Twitch at all. At the time, both Nade and Power, Nade on his first channel, which I think was deleted at around 500K, and Power, both, I think Nade had around 24K, and I think Power had 16K. I watched these two, first of all, duke it out in basically every aspect of the community, and I watched these two grow right before my very eyes. I watched Nade grow into the 500K channel, and I watched Power grow in 2K17, 18, and 19. Now, I have been blessed with the opportunity to talk to Power about these sort of time periods, and one of my favorites to talk about was actually 2K18, which, it may sound weird, but it was actually the worst year for him. He really didn't want to play the game, and he wanted to give up. I asked him why he didn't, and why he really didn't throw it away, because he has also told me that one of the reasons why he does it and continues to keep playing the game is for the sole reason that he has fun with it. And in 2K18, he wasn't really having fun with it. He said his channel wasn't going anywhere, and he wasn't enjoying the game, because 2K18 is still probably the worst 2K of all time. So I asked him, I said, what made you keep going, and what made you just not give up? When you saw that nothing was growing, you weren't growing, what made you keep going? And his answer was simple. It was the fact that he was in DF and he had to be the role model or the leader that he is today. And he had to show that he was capable of persevering through these hard times and difficult times in order to get to the good ones, which thankfully he did. 2K19 was one of his better years in the community. And if he had given up in 2K18, he would have never seen 2K19 and 2K20, and even today. So the reason why I mention these two, both power and grinding, was that I watched these two come up together, and I was really interested in the fact that they really just cared about loyalty, friendship, and growing together, not separately. And that was something that I really wanted to be a part of. And that was the main reason as to why I started my grind for DF. I want to end the video by saying thank you to both Power and Grinding for giving me the opportunity for something that I put a lot of hours into and I really wanted for a long time. If you guys know me and you guys were close to me, you guys knew how much this meant to me and how badly I really wanted this. I started my grind for DF 527 days ago from the time that I was recruited. Now, if you really want to put that into terms that like, oh, you see like 527 days, that's about 17 and a half months if you were to basically take the number and divide it by 30. So, was it easy? No. Did I think of giving up at times and question myself and my decision making? Yes. Did I want it more than I think I was healthy? For both me mentally and physically? Probably. But that's one of the few things that I like about myself, is that I care a lot about the things that I want, and this was one of them. I physically could not allow myself to give up. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it at all. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, should I grind for DF? Is this really for me? Am I down to dedicate almost a year and a half? I think it is a year and a half, or almost. I think it was all either a year and a half or not, but almost 2 years to trying to join a clan, then I would say yes. Because, you know, first of all, probably might not take as long. It's probably not going to take as long as me. I hold the record for the longest DF grind time. #1, baby. But, yeah. So if you're thinking to yourself, is this worth it? Should I do it? Should I go for it? I'd say yes. Because really, joining DF, or grinding for DF, was one of the best things that I could have done. And so I'll end the video by saying thank you to everybody that has gotten me here. Power, Grinding, thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity. I promise I'm not going to let you guys down. And yeah, so it's been your boy Screens DF, and I'm out, man. Peace.